Welcome to the Painted Toe. Today's creative break is painting summer dandelion puffs. Hey, it's Rose from the Painted Toad. Sorry I'm a little late here. I was having issues getting Facebook to let me do the live, and my video streaming software was being a pain. So I'm here, and we're going to paint the summer dandelion puffs, or poofs, or I don't know, whatever you want to call them, the seeds. So if you're joining me, say hi. And before I begin, I just want to let you know I'm going to be doing these Paint With Me paintings all summer long on Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. So if you want to join me each week to paint, schedule that time, take some time out for a little bit of self-care, a little bit of enjoyment, creating something unique. And this is also a great little class if you want to paint with somebody, um, like your grandkids or your kids. I have these paintings designed so that adults can enjoy them because they're fun and easy, and kids can do them too. So, but let's get started here. I'm gonna get my canvas set. Well, I had it set up here, but there we go. All right, so that's all ready to go. And if you're coming on, say hi. I see I have one viewer, so hello, hello. And I'm going to stop talking so much and let's get started here. So, first things first, let's go over some colors. I did put the color list in the events, and I'll be doing that for our classes. So I've got them laid out here so you can see them. You also need white as well. And you can use craft paints or acrylics, like artist acrylics. I tend to use a lot of artist acrylics. I just like them better. They're a little bit thicker, but craft paints work fine too. They just have a different consistency, and I do use those on some things. And the painting we're doing, we're going to start on the background. I'm just pulling up here give me a second here. I'm trying to pull up everything so I can see it on my screen. This is actually a painting I did quite a while back. This was actually a group painting that I did, which was it was for a school art auction. And I'm not sure who bought this painting. I want to say that it sold maybe for $200 or $300. I'd have to go back and look at my Facebook feed to see what that actually was. So not bad. But the original I did the whole background and everything, and then I left the little dandelion seed part for um, for my students to do it. And I'm trying to remember, it might have been second grade that I did this. So if anybody from the second grade over at IC school bought this way back when, yes, this is the one we're doing tonight. So I'm going to do it a little bit differently, but honestly, this is a great one if you want to do something with your kids, like something special, like for grandma or for, well, Mother's Day is past, but for Father's Day or something like that, because you can actually use fingerprints to do the little puffs, which is really kind of cool. So I am going to, let's see here, we're going to start at the bottom. I'm going to start with my lighter colors. So at the bottom, I'm just using a flat brush. Actually, it's an angled brush. I'm just going to bring in some color here, kind of sweep it back and forth. This background is really quick. It's not super technical. That's why this makes it a really fun and easy painting. So, and I'm just going to bring these up in here like this. And then while this is still wet, I'm going to go in with some of this green. It's cadmium green. And I am going to just go in a bunch of different angles. So this is where the angle brush kind of comes in nice, because I can kind of bring this all up in here. So one of the reasons I decided to do the dandelion painting is on our evening walks. I live out in the country, so we have lots and lots of fields. And right now the dandelions are all, like a lot of them are all in seed right now. So there's little poofs, and it's so cool in the evenings as the sun is setting. It's so beautiful because the light kind of hits these little dandelions and I don't know, they almost look a little bit magical when they catch the light. Almost like a little fairy world. I was always imaginative younger. Like I believe in fairies and stuff when I was younger. Maybe I still do. Um, but I don't know, it was always fun, and it still is fun to just kind of think about, you know, what goes on down there in the grass and stuff like that. All the little things you can't see. All the little things in creation. So I'm just kind of mixing this in here, and I've got some grass at the bottom. And I'm using a 5x7 canvas. I don't know if I can't remember if I mentioned that or not, but oops, let's get it up here where you can see it. Sorry. So I'm just filling it in. And then as we come up, I'm actually going to start changing my color a little bit. So I'm going to bring more of this green up in here and just kind of bring it here. We want some of the yellow to show up. So I'm not going to cover all that in green. I'm going to leave some of it yellow. This green is a little bit thin. Here I'm going on about how great artist paints are thicker, blah, 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 but green is never thick. At least this green isn't. What is this? Ooh, it's Royal Lancaster. They have good brushes and stuff and good paints, but sometimes this stuff is a little thin. Anyways, this is just a fun painting, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. I'm going to bring this in here, kind of bring these colors up. And then I'm going to come in. So you can do one of two things. I think on the list I gave you the blue, this dark blue. So you can mix the blue and white to get a little bit of a lighter blue, but I actually happened upon this lovely blue when I was at the store the other day, and I couldn't resist, so I bought it. So it is brand new. So give me a second here. I'm going to open this. Minor details. I should have opened it before, but you know, I decided about 5 minutes before I got on here that I wanted to use this color. But if you don't have this color, and if you are painting along with me, you can just use the darker blue and you can add a touch of white in it. So in all that time, hopefully my green has not completely dried out here. It isn't. It's still a little bit wet. So I'm going to bring that down in here. And I'm kind of letting these two colors mix. So I get a tad of blue-green going on. And I'm kind of going both ways here. I'm kind of using the wide end of my brush and also the skinny end. So you can kind of do either way and see how it works out for you. But I just want this is just my background, so I'm not super worried about the brush strokes or, you know, having it look a certain way. Yeah, I think I like this. I think I like this blue. So I'm going to bring more of the blue up here, kind of bring all this across. Now I'm using the wide side of my brush. And I'm just filling all this in here. There we go. Now I'm just going to kind of pull it down just to get those colors to blend down a little bit more. If you can see here, I'm just taking my brush and just pulling brush strokes down like so. And I'm working pretty fast here. You don't have to work this fast. You know, if you're watching this later, the nice thing is you can kind of do something and then pause it. So if I'm working faster than what you're comfortable with, go ahead and pause it. Obviously can't do that right now while I'm live, but if you plan to do this painting later, it'll be on my page and you can go back and pause it and take your time on it where you're a little bit more comfortable. Okay, so now I'm going to get some black here. And if you are joining me, this is Rose from the Painted Toad. and I am painting some little dandelion poofs. So go ahead and say hi. Let me know if you're painting. How do you feel about dandelions? You know, when we lived more in the city, like my husband, more so than me, I didn't really obsess too much about it, but my husband kind of would obsess about getting the dandelions out of the lawn. Like if he saw some, he would like dig them up and get them out before they spread. But out here, they are just prolific. Like you can't I mean we have like 5 acres of grass, so you can't like treat five. I mean you could treat 5 acres of grass for dandelions, but it's probably really expensive. So we just let them grow. It's just part of country life. That is just what we deal with out here, and I like it. I mean, I like the dandelions. They don't bother me at all. And they have lots of good things. I know some people too who use them as salad greens and things like that, though I don't particularly care to eat them. Um, but I know some people who do. And they say you should eat them like not now in the spring, but I think maybe towards later in the summer. They're not quite as bitter or something like that. It'd be something to research. I had dandelion wine once, and it was pretty gross. But I'm not really much of a wine connoisseur anyways. I kind of like sweet things, and well, it wasn't, I don't remember the taste being, really, really terrible, but the smell of it smelled horrible. Dandelion wine. I won't tell you what it smelled like, but I don't know. If you ever get the chance, you can try it out sometime, and yeah. So I'm taking black here and I'm just kind of blending this in. I've kind of let the black mix a little bit with the blue. And while my brush is dirty with the black, I'm going to bring in more of this blue here to just kind of spread this out and all of that. Oh, hey, Karen. Yes. You tried making one. Yeah, Karen's dad tried making dandelion wine once here and it was terrible. Yeah, it like the stuff I had that somebody made, it just tasted or it didn't taste good, but it just smelled horrible. It was like the worst smell, so not a big fan of it. Definitely not. But yeah, some people like it. And like I said, some people put it in their salads and things and eat it. I actually, okay, so I do this for my rabbits because I have 2 little bunnies. Um, I go around and I pick up little dandelions. Like I go through the lawn and get like nice little tender ones and I feed them to my bunnies. They love the dandelions. So I kind of spoil them. So that is something I do just for my bunnies. So I'm bringing more of the blue in here. I'm really just kind of playing around with this until I get a texture and a background that I like. So the background isn't like super specific here. It's just mixing the blue and the black. I want more blue in it. So that's why I'm taking this blue back in here and just kind of bringing it in. Because I want to, when we add the little dandelion poofs, I want some contrast in there. So that's what I'm going for. And sometimes with these little paintings, I mean, it's a little 5x7, so you don't have to be afraid of it. It's just playing around and throwing the paint on there. Sometimes if you get the big canvases, people get scared by those because it's like, oh my gosh, I got to fill this whole thing. But these are super simple. These are a great way to practice and to learn different painting skills and things like that. Okay, so now that that's done, I'm going to go in here and add a little bit more of the green. I'm going to rinse this because now that I have black in my brush, that'll take over and muddy up the green. But my green was not very thick, so I'm going to go back in and add a bit more. And I think what I might do is actually do green and yellow at the same time. So sometimes I will load my brush with 2 colors at the same time, which is kind of nice for being efficient and getting more color in there. So I've got the green and the yellow on the brush. And I'm just going to peek and make sure you can still see the whole painting. Okay, good. Sometimes it shifts down and then I can't tell if you can see it. And then like it's shifted up here, so now it's under my little toad. All right, there we go. Okay, much better. You know, I really should think about getting, I have a separate monitor. I should do dual monitors, then I can see more things at once because I'm trying to look at my painting sample from when I did it before, and then I'm trying to look at the Facebook feed in case anybody's commenting, and I'm trying to see what what is showing up on the video. So that's what we call multitasking, right? So let's get some more green in here. The nice thing about these colors is if the green hits the blue, it's going to be fine because green and yellow and blue, they all kind of work together nicely. Now, if we got crazy and threw some orange in here, we might get some issues, but because all of these colors blend nicely together, you can just keep going even though this top blue part is kind of wet still. Now, if you want it to dry between layers, I like to use a hair dryer to do that. So if you need a quick dry, you can pull out a hair dryer and do that. But I'm not too worried about that right now. I'm just going to keep blending my background. Just kind of bringing these colors up. There we go. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. And let's see here. Let me peek at my picture again. So in the picture, I've got like a lot of dark colors going on. So I'm going to bring in some black. Rinse. I don't actually, technically, I don't have to rinse my brush because black will just take over anyways, but I am going to rinse it just and dry it a little bit. Always make sure it's super dry. Otherwise you end up with a big drip of paint coming down. And I'm going to come in here now and bring some black. Almost a little bit of shadow coming in. So let that come up. And once again, I don't really need to wait for this to dry because the black will cover. And it's okay if it mixes a bit with these colors. So I'm not too worried about that. And if you didn't catch it earlier, I'm just using an angled brush, which it seems to be doing the job tonight. So you could do this with a flat brush. The round brush, I don't know. Sometimes with the round brush, I can't get like the nice thin lines unless I'm using a real fine round brush. So I prefer to do this either with a flat brush or an angled brush just to get those nice, like the look of grass is kind of what I'm going for here. I got some shadows. Well, honestly, I can't even remember this. I painted this one so long ago. I'm trying to think how many years ago it was. Oh, it might have been like 5 or 6 years ago, maybe a little sooner. I have to think about when that auction was. Okay, so in here, I'm also going to have my little dandelion poofs. So I need the stems, and I've got a couple here that could actually work for the stems, some of these longer ones coming up. So I'm just going to take a little skinny liner brush here and just kind of make a decision here. This is going to be one of the puffs. It's picking up the blue paint because the blue paint's still wet. There we go. And I might have a couple, maybe like one over here. It's not going to come up as high. You can really do as many as you want. I try to balance, so when you're an artist, you want to balance your composition. So we have, fancy words like you have negative space, you have positive space. So what that means is you don't want to just put everything in one spot or on half of the painting or right smack dab in the middle. It's very boring if you do that. Visually, it's more interesting to our eyes when we have some different things in different locations so that there's a little bit kind of drawing our eye around the picture. So there's a little art lesson for you. And as I add these in, like I've got one, two, I think I might do 5 of these puffs coming up. I think my original has 4 in it, but I think I could do 5 because I did the wider view here. And then for that, I am going to take my liner brush again. I'm going in the black. And I'm going to kind of make some little lines going out here. So these are going to be the seeds. Now, if you don't have a real skinny brush, something you can try is you could use a toothpick to do that. Let me show you with the toothpick in case you want to try. It doesn't flow as good, but yeah, well, see that didn't, actually that looks kind of interesting. Ooh, I just had a great idea. So this happens sometimes when I'm painting, like, ooh, I could do that. So I don't know, I wonder if we scraped, that might actually make kind of a cool little poof thing, but I'm gonna go back in and paint this here. But I've got a whole other idea. Okay, so I'm just adding these little wisps coming off. These are gonna be the seeds. They don't have to be perfect. I'm barely pushing on my brush. So you don't wanna like push super duper hard. Like, see how that one's a little bit fat? We can fix that later, but I'm not too worried about it. But you just kind of flick the brush. Just flick, very gentle, and you'll get these little lines popping out. And like I said, don't worry if they're not perfect. We're going to cover up with little poofies later. So, not too worried about one being too fat or, one not being long enough or one being too long. Don't worry about that. There we go. Just adding in all my little lines here. And if you're like, well, how many do you know to put in? You just put in a bunch. So it's surrounding the whole thing. Like here's a little gap. I'll put another one there. Maybe stick another one going out there. So I've got one down there. These are kind of all in the same length. So I'm going to do this one a little bit lower. Oop, there's another fat one. Oopsies. So there we go. The other thing I love about dandelions, I don't know that my kids do this. They haven't done it yet this year. So I don't know, we might be past it. I'm not sure. But when they're little, they pick those dandelions and they bring you the little dandelion bouquet. So I usually get a little dandelion bouquet from my daughters at some point, but I haven't got one yet this year. They did bring me some violets or something that was growing in the backwoods. Um, it was like a purple flower. We have them kind of prolific back there. But no dandelions yet this year. I have these little vases, so they will put them in little vases. All right, I do want to get a little more black up in this edge here. So I'm going to take, let's see, do I want to use my flat brush again? I guess I'll use my flat brush again. This one's kind of big, but it'll work. Or my angled brush, sorry. I was using an angled brush. I'm going to make sure it's dry again. And I'm just going to take some black here and just kind of darken up these edges just a tad. A little bit over on this side. I'm trying not to get my hand in the way so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to bring some black down in here. I just like this textured look. So if you don't like the textured look, if you liked it, you know, without this, don't add this then. I just kind of wanted to give it, well, an interesting effect. So this is me playing around, trying different effects that I can get with my background. Oh, I kind of like that. That looks kind of cool. Let me get some blue in here and maybe come up in the opposite direction. And even though I already did my poofs, that's okay. Not a problem at all. And just blending these in, bringing some color up here. Just makes for an interesting composition. We got a lot going on in the background. And like I said, this'll all get worked together. This is the building blocks. Acrylic is a very step-by-step process. It's all about layering. If you're joining me, it's Rose from the Painted Toad, and we are painting dandelion puffs today. So, and this is part of my Paint With Me series. So we're going to be doing this every Wednesday through the summer. There's a couple there. We won't be, because I think one of those Wednesdays is my anniversary, so we won't be doing it then. Hopefully my husband's going to take me out somewhere fabulous, because we're celebrating 20 years this year, so that's kind of exciting. We've been married 20 years. So, yeah, it's been an interesting 20 years. And what else? And then I think another one, I might be on vacation. So, but, so for most of our Wednesdays between now and August, I'll be doing this Paint With Me. And this is your encouragement and your time to make time for yourself to do something creative. So I am a very creative person, and when I don't take time to create, I get cranky. Like I need that creative outlet. It's really important for my health and well-being and happiness. So if you're the same way, I am giving you permission to schedule every Wednesday night and come and paint with me. And I'm going to have other events and things over the summer, different paintings. I should show you really quick. I have this one coming up in June, right behind me, right here. I will teach you how to paint this. So, you know, if you're looking at that and saying, I can't paint that, yes, you can. I can totally teach you how to do this. I gave you a template for the bike, so don't look at the bike and go, there's no way I can do the bike. It's as easy as riding a bike. So this is coming up in June. I want to say the 13th and 14th, I think, which is a Saturday, not a Saturday, Sunday and Monday, June 13th and 14th at 6:30. Pretty sure that's the time I set for it. But it's on my page, so you can check it out. So I'll be teaching that. And then I have some other really cool ones planned out. So I'll be doing those too this summer. So I want the Painted Toad to be a place, a refuge for you to come and be creative. That is what we are here for. Creativity at its best. So I'm going to paint in now some little flyaways, which I could do this later, but since I'm already working on here, I'm going to use my liner brush and create some little flyaways. So some of the little dandelion poofs that have let go and are heading off in a new direction. So maybe there's a little breeze that came by and poof, picked them off. Now they're flying. They'll be flying off to a new home somewhere. Somewhere in the lawn, somewhere in my 5-acre grass to grow. Now, I just read something the other day, somebody posted about like dandelions are supposed to be really good for your lawn. Like most people try to kill them off and get rid of them. But this said that not only are they early food for like bees and other pollinators, they have nectar and pollen, and then the roots and stuff are supposed to like aerate and improve your soil. So I thought that was really interesting. So if you are a dandelion hater, you need to reconsider that because they are supposed to be really, really good to help improve your soil. And our soil, at least in this part of Michigan, and I think over a lot of Michigan, is all clay. So having good topsoil, especially when you're trying to do a garden. We have a garden that we've been trying to get the topsoil to work out for us for years. We've been adding topsoil, we've been adding sand, but it is so heavy with clay. I'm like searching here. I'm trying to find, I have a smaller angle brush, so I'm searching for it. So if you wonder why like I'm wandering, it's because I'm trying to find, here's my lovely paint cup. I need a new one, so if anyone has a good suggestion, this little plastic cup is dying on me. I need a new paint cup. Where is my little, I had pulled everything out but this one. I know I have, oh, this is a good one. This will work. It's a small little angled brush here. I just bought some angled brushes or a brush set and I might have some in there, but it's on the floor, not opened yet. So that was one of those impulse buys. I have that problem with paint supplies. All right, I'm getting some more blue here. And I'm going to pull some of this blue down in here just a little bit, just to add some contrast and interest in our bottom part. And even if the black is wet, that's okay. If it mixes in a little bit with the blue, be totally fine. So just a little bit more texture down there and some interest to our bottom. And then I'm going to let this dry a little bit. Actually, I'm going to pull out the hair dryer. Now that I've got that done, I'm going to go back in and add a little more green. Need to add a little bit more to my palette. If you're joining me, it's Rose from Painted Toad, and we are painting Dandelion Puffs. We're almost done. Haven't done the puffy part yet. So I'm getting on that right now. Rinsing out my brush. And I'm going to take some more of the green and bring some of this green and maybe a little bit of the yellow again. I still got a little yellow here. Let me add a little bit more yellow. And I'm going to create a little bit more of the grass. I use the word little bit a lot and kinda. I had to work on my live vocabulary, so sorry about that. And so, I say so a lot. Bringing in the green. So we got the blue, the green. It's kind of, I don't know, gives it kind of a moody texture look down here. Here. There. Thinking that's pretty good. I'm just gonna look, let me look at that just for a second here, and let's see how that looks. Oh, I like that. I think that looks pretty cool. I feel like this yellow here is a little bit out of place. I mean, I'm gonna just take some black in and just kind of bring some more grass up in there, just to give it, there. It's not so out of place now. It seems like there was too much of a gap there. Some more of this black in here. Oh dear. I don't know if you can hear that, but somebody's having a meltdown. So I guess I better hurry up and finish this and find out what's going on. With 4 girls, you're never quite sure. Somebody's feelings are often hurt. We have a lot of emotions. And I have 2, well, almost 2 teenagers. My second daughter will be a teenager this summer. So that's where we're at right now. Okay, I'm gonna leave that bottom. I like how it looks. It almost looks kind of like, ooh, little palm trees or something crazy up there. Okay, so for the puffs on the dandelion, there's a couple different things you could do. When I did this original, I had the children use their fingerprint, and I actually placed their fingerprint because I'm like type A and I wanted it in the perfect spot. So, but I had them dip in the paint and then I put their fingerprint around on here. This is kind of small, but if you did a bigger one, this is what I was talking about. If you ever wanted to give this as a gift, you can do a little bit bigger canvas, like an 8x10 or maybe even like an 8x8 or something. And then you can have your little ones put fingerprints on it and then give it to somebody special because it has all the fingerprints, which is kind of cool. For this, I'm going to try 2 different methods. So we're going to see which one works the best. I have not tried either. So this is experimenting. So I have a Q-tip, and I have kind of a cruddy kids brush. I don't know, it might have come out of a Crayola set, so it's not like super high quality paintbrush here, but it'll do the job for what we want to do. So it's kind of frayed on the edges, which is what I wanted. So let's see what we can do. Oh, you know what? I forgot one thing here. I'll put a little bit of yellow in the middle. I'll do that later. Okay, so I'm going to try first with the Q-tip and see what happens. So let's see the Q-tip look, and then let me get this on here. It's a little crooked. Sorry about that. There we go. So let's see. Ooh, I like that. That could work. So taking a Q-tip and just doing the little poofs on there like that. Let's try also with this kind of frayed brush. I'm going to see what kind of effect this gets. So I don't want to get like, I don't want to completely saturate this brush. I'm just kind of getting the hairs on the ends a little bit wet with paint. So let's see how that looks. That also has a really cool effect. So I think I'm going to do a little bit of both because, hey, this is art and you can do whatever you want. So I'm going to do a little bit of both here. I'm going to add some little puffs with my Q-tip, which are a little bit more distinct. And like, I don't want it super, super thick. I want it to be a little bit wispy here. So one thing you can do is like dip it in the paint and then kind of get some of it off on your palette. And then go in and start doing the little puffs. That way you won't get like one big fat solid circle thing. We want them to look wispy, just like dandelion. Like that one's too fat. Oh well. It'll be okay. Okay, and now I'm going to switch to my little brush here. Now you don't have, like if you don't have both, don't worry about it. Just use what you have. If you just have a brush, use the little brush. But I like this because it's kind of wispy. It just gives it a little bit of that loose, fluffy look that the dandelion puffs have. See? Look how fluffy that looks. It's like make a wish. So I'm just going all over. See how I told you, like, remember when I told you that those black ones that were too thick? You know, we don't have to worry about that because it all gets covered up here with our little poofs. So never stress out about something that doesn't work out the first time because 9 times out of 10 you're going to layer something over it anyways. And if you really don't like it, you can always go back and paint it again. So the great thing about the acrylic is once it dries, you can paint right over it again. I'll get my last one here. There we go. And you know, as I'm looking about this, I feel like I need one over here. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna go in. I didn't do little spokes for it, but maybe it's just on the side over here. So I'm just gonna add it in. There's one over here. You know how Bob Ross always did that? When he add his happy little trees. That's what it's like. It's like you look and you're like, oh, you need a little something there. I'm gonna add a happy little dandelion puff. The other thing you might want to do is we could have some maybe in the distance here that are a little bit smaller. You know, kind of in the background, farther away from us. So you could put some back there. I'm making these smaller because they're not close to me. They're like farther into the field of vision. So those are kind of back there. And then last but not least, we're doing good on this. Last but not least, I'm going to add the little puffs on my seeds that are blowing away. Like here I had a little crisscross one. Oh, I think that's super cute. Once again, you can like add more if you want to. So maybe I'll add one more here. I'm almost done. I'm just going to take my liner brush. I'm going to put one more up here maybe. I'm going to just take my frayed little brush here and there, that one's kind of flipping on its side. And maybe one more kind of going off where it's got there. It's like blowing in a different direction. They're blowing all over the place here. Okay. I think I'm going to take a look at it. Let's see here. I'm thinking that looks super cute. And I don't know about you, but I'm happy with it. I think I like it. Okay, so I'm going to switch this around here So let's go to this camera. Ooh, look at that. You can still see my picture. I love that. My husband set up. I love this system. It's so fun. Okay, so I am Rose, and I am from The Painted Toad, which is our online art studio. And we just finished, or I just finished. I always say we. It's like me and the toad. And I do actually have a toad. One day I'll introduce you to my toad. But I painted this lovely little dandelion puff picture, and you can paint it too. As soon as I finish my live, this will be saved, and you can go back and paint it and learn how to do this. Super fun, super easy. And don't forget, I want you to join me Wednesday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to be doing little paintings like this that are easy for beginners. And even if you're not a beginner, but you need to make time to paint, you just don't take time to do it, join me. Have fun with it. Play around with it. Okay, so look for all my events. I'm going to be loading them up in the next couple of days here, the Paint With Me, and you'll be able to see what we're going to be painting through June, July, and August. Okay, so thanks for joining me today, and looking forward to painting with you. And remember, be creative, be artistic, and get connected at The Painted Toad. Thanks for popping on. Have a great night. The Paint With Me series is going on live all summer long on my Facebook page at The Painted Toad. You can catch the live tutorials or like and subscribe to catch them as I upload them to this YouTube page.